living my best life. I told y'all, I'm living my best life. I made a couple L's with my best friends. Turned all my L's into lessons. You see the whip pulling up, it's like skirt. Dreams pulling up, it's like skirt.
Happy Saturday, YouTube family. So today I'm going to be just talking about internet bullying in the reptile community and how much I despise it and what role I play in it. Why I feed my tarantulas. So tarantulas being the species in my home that I know least about, but I take good care of them. As you can see, they're all still alive. I take really good care of them to the best of my ability, but I'm not an expert. So at any point that I say something and it doesn't sound like I have expertise, skip to other videos like my reptiles if you're looking for perfection. Tarantulas is not my expertise, but I love them because they're beautiful. So I'm holding in my hand my GBB, and this actually, so what I'm going to do real fast before I go into my main topic of internet bullying in the reptile community, I am going to align who's my favorite tarantula in order. So I'm going to put this one down for a second because this is not my top favorite. My absolute favorite, and you guys cannot see them because I'm not picking up tarantulas, not even for you. But my absolute favorite is my Mexican red knee, and she is absolutely gorgeous. I'll take pictures of her, of all of them, and insert it at the end of this video. She was my first tarantula, and she is my favorite. And her name is Cardi because I love Cardi B. And she has, you know, two personalities. One is real chill and respectful. The other one is a little red shit. So that's how she got the name Cardi. Next to Cardi, my Brazilian black is my number 2 favorite. And because I have yet to learn the sex of all of my other ones, I believe. I don't know the sex of. I haven't named them. I like to name them based on their genetic makeup. I guess you could say that. Is that the politically correct thing to say? But my Brazilian black is my number 2. And then it is the GBB. I love this little fella. I'm assuming it's a fella. He acts like a little buoy. Because he is so cool in colors, but spicy and a really, really, really good eater. So he's my number 3 favorite. Then my number 4 favorite, I'm sure it's hiding, but actually you can see a little bit on the side. It's hiding right there. It's my Arizona blonde. That's my number 4 favorite. This one is a real chill one. If it was ever one I would attempt to pick up, it would be this one, but I ain't attempting to pick any of them up right now, so I'm not there yet. Let's see. So my number 5 favorite would be my curly hair. I used to have 2. One of them actually passed away, and I freaked out to think it was something I did wrong, and I found out that females live long and boys really have very, very short-term lives, and when you're purchasing them, no one can tell you exactly how long it's going to live. But I had 2 curly hairs, so that's my 5th favorite. And then the last favorite, but kind of tied with the curly hair, if I had to just put them in, you know, in an order, so I got to say 6 because there's 6 of them. It would be this one right here, which is my striped knee. Let me see. You might can see it a little bit. Yeah. So that's number 6 favorite. So I'm gonna feed these while I talk about the next topic. Oh, and guys, I don't go near tarantulas without this. This is my weapon, my sword. no tarantula shall prosper. Keep this. So I learned with these, this is a good way to scoot them on out my way if I need to do some cleaning or put their water down and they're right on the water bowl. I'll just scoot, and I guess it's like flicking hairs back. They actually disappear to the other side. So have some small crickets here. I do sometimes feed them dubia roaches, which I keep in store right behind me, but they have gotten so big they kind of outgrown the size tarantulas that I have, except for the Mexican red name. She's for it. So yeah, so I'm gonna be feeding them today. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was internet bullying in the reptile community. So I am in a lot of reptile social media groups, and I'm active in many. Some of them I just kind of dip in and out of. But however, the one time you will see me respond is when people are attacking a defenseless person. And what I mean by that is that everybody don't have the hands to clap back, right? So I am their clapper. When I recognize someone who is totally being bullied or don't even know how to respond to some of the internet ignorance, I'm that girl who's going to jump in. So I say, one of the things that I would share with people and I would want people to understand is that none of us do what we do to a perfection, and all of us had some learning curve at some point in life. I am grateful that when I first started keeping, the internet wasn't a big deal. So I think that some of us older in the game, we were able to do a lot of reading, and so we're not as attacked as much because knowledge is more power for us. We're back. We know what we're doing because we've read so much, and we already kind of outweigh the pros and cons of what we've read, and we roll with what we thought we should roll with, right? So I do see people who are newer to the community who ask questions that to us who've been doing it for a while may seem obnoxious. However, it is our civil duty in the reptile community to respond in a way that we're not tearing people down, making them feel inapt, making them not want to engage in these communities, because there's a lot of good that can come out of being in these different reptile groups. I don't care what group you're in. Like I said, I'm in many. A lot of people, for an example, do not like Retic Nation. I love it. I love Retic Nation. And I love it because I absorb so much information, specifically on level of reading. And I also absorb a lot of things that I was like, oh, I love that. You know, I would like to try that. Do I see some ignorance there? Yes, but not as much as I see in other groups, to be totally honest. It seems that that particular group houses, I'm not going to say minimum because it's still a lot of people, but the tolerance for it is minimum of how you're going to respond. Someone always speaks up for somebody in that group, and I actually like that group. I had seen in the last couple weeks, people just ask the simplest questions, and people, without going into details, because I don't want anybody to be watching this video and feel a certain kind of way, but just some examples are, you know, one girl asked in a group this week about a snake that she inherited from her boyfriend, and she believed that it came from a specific breeder. So she's on this one of the breeders' platforms asking, hey, by any chance, do you remember this snake? Now, of course, if you're someone who breeds thousands of snakes over the years, to somebody else, that may seem like an obnoxious question. But how you can respond to that without being rude is to say, hey, you know, it's probably a little difficult for a breeder who breeds thousands of animals to identify any of their snakes once they're sold years later. But it's not impossible. I can tell you that I have seen people post reticulated pythons of Jim Jolly's, and he knows it's his snake that he sold years ago. I have posted I posted my pod one day, and somebody said, hey, that pot came from Jim Jolly. It has the signature head stamp. And I'm like, well, let me look at the head stamp. He said, look, it's a J. And ironically, there's a J that looks like it was literally stamped on his snake's head. But so some breeders know, for whatever reason. I can get why someone would think that was an obnoxious question, but if you thought it was, then respond with an educated response, with an informative response, with a kind response. Because if you don't, it's a little girl in the background and she's called the bully fairy, the reptile bully fairy. She gonna show up and show out. Because one thing that I'm really good at, and it's something that they told me at work, is professionally assassinating people. And it's not that something that I enjoy, but if I have to go there, and as my mother said, I never fought for myself. Every fight I ever fought in my life is because I was fighting for somebody else. I can go there. So I will respond. I don't care what group it is. If I'm a member and I see you do it, I'm going to call you out. If that person cannot handle their own. There are people who will shut you down, chew you up, and spit you out for themselves. And I'm over there with the high five. But there are people who are timid in this, or sometimes you just don't know what kind of day somebody had before you insult them. Lady today posted her Tegu in one of the Tegu groups. Tegu had a bloody nose, and you can see that she was concerned that she did something wrong that was causing a Tegu to keep trying to escape, and the Tegu was damaging its nose to the point that it bled. Now, yes, the enclosure that she was keeping the Tegu in was small, too small for that Tegu. But then, people with their approach of, obviously you didn't do your research. Shut up. She further goes to tell you that she got the Tegu from a reptile show where she assumed that the person who was selling the Tegu to her gave her the right information and told her that the Tegu can live in here for some time. Sometime is subjective, right? I purchased my Asian water monitor from Kevin McCurley, and Kevin said to me, do not, for socializing purposes, go and put your Asian water monitor in a huge enclosure right away. Put them in a small 20 to 30 gallon tank, and he even said 30 might be a little big, but somewhere where the animal can constantly see you approaching, you're engaging with it, and it will grow in that environment. Right now there's a great size for that smaller Asian water monitor, but he also told me they grow really, really fast. So my question was, what's really, really fast? He's like, really, really fast. So if I need to get a bigger enclosure, when should I start building it? He said, now. So you have to be educated and accountable enough to ask questions of the person you're purchasing from, because really, really fast, or sometime it's subjective. Sometimes some people might be a month. Sometimes to some people might be a year. Sometimes to some people might be 2 years. But again, we have to just, learn how to polish up ourselves and our words when we're communicating to assist people, because it's just being ignorant doesn't work. And I don't even know why people are like that. Like, I honestly say those are people who have no control or power in their own lives, so they come to the internet to try to grab that. I just don't get it. Let me grab some scissors. I don't even know where my scissors are, but I'm gonna grab these. So with that being said, I wish we would just be conscious of not demotivating people in the hobby. Being a cheerleader for our people. I mean, we have enough things and people who are attacking us. I'll put a little bit of water in something. Oh, you ready? You ready, huh? Put some water in here too. My curly hair was like, oh, we eating? Yay, girl, you're eating. So, yeah, that's it. With that said, not much more. I'm gonna go ahead and finish feeding my babies. I am going to insert photos of all of them at the end of this video. Everybody have a great weekend. Peace.